Just because you've messed up, that doesn't mean that you have to stay there. You can get up. I've messed up, others have messed up, but there's always hope. And today we're going to talk about how you can posture yourself, how you can position yourself for a do over on this episode of the Kingdom Confidence Podcast. Welcome to the Kingdom Confidence Podcast. I am your host, Coach Jesse Cole. Listen, I am so excited about this topic today because in the business world and in the ministry world, in this faith and business culture, there's always this, there seems to be, let me say it like that, there seems to be this projection of perfection. People are trying to project that they are perfect, like they don't make mistakes, but we all make mistakes. I've made some huge mistakes as a father. I've made huge mistakes as a husband, as a business leader, as someone who's in the marketplace talking about faith and business. I've made some unwise decisions before. And I felt embarrassed. I felt guilty. I felt like I put a big shoe print of shame on the kingdom. But however, we don't have to live in condemnation. I had to be reminded that Jesse, just because you messed up, your father does not condemn you. That's not the king's character, is to condemn us. So I want to talk about how you can position yourself for a do-over. If you've messed up, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay stuck. You can position yourself for a do-over. There's hope, right? Maybe you've had a moral lapse of judgment, right? Maybe something you've said kind of changed somebody's life, not for the better or for the worse, and you wish you can get that moment back. Will there be consequences for your actions? Absolutely, there will be. Absolutely, there are going to be consequences, but you can gracefully, listen, you can gracefully embrace God's forgiveness, and you can gracefully embrace those consequences and navigate through the process in order to get back to where you need to be, right? To become a reflection of Christ. You don't have to stay stuck there, right? Say that again. You don't have to stay stuck in your stuff. I told you that this topic is near and dear to my heart because, listen, I grew up as a PK. My father was a preacher, so I'm a PK 10 times over. I'm a PK's PK, right? So I understand what church is. I understand how to navigate it. I understand the philosophy and how people think in church. And if you're a PK, that gets piled on over and over and over. There's a certain expectation that people are supposed to have of you. And at an early age, you identify that. And sometimes you play into that and you are being inauthentic. But it wasn't until I became an adult that I realized that, listen, before I'm a PK, I'm God's son first. I'm God's child first. He knows my heart anyway. So I can just show up with authenticity and boldness the same way you can. We can show up with authenticity and boldness, right? And so I talk with my children. Dean is 11 right now. Naya is 8. And I learned a big lesson as a father with these two, right? And so, of course, children, they do things that they shouldn't do. They do things to be disobedient. This is what children do. And as a father, I've had to learn how to leave what they did today, leave it in today. Don't allow it to carry over into tomorrow. And so I've learned how to say, whenever they get in trouble, all right, you're in trouble right now, but tomorrow's a new day. You get new grace. You get a new chance. Essentially, I'm saying you get a do-over. That's the same thing our Father says to us. He gives us grace. Oh my gosh, He gives us grace. He gives us an opportunity to do it again, to try again. Grace fills in the gap. Grace makes us look better than what we really are. If you've ever been late on a bill, you know that because the company usually gives you a what? A grace period. That means they're giving you an opportunity to get it right before they cut your lights off, right? The grace of God works the same way. He allows us to continue to get better. He allows us to grow, to catch up, to become a reflection of Him. In the process, He doesn't condemn us. He doesn't hit us over the head and tell us that we're bad children. He says, "Listen, there are going to be consequences for your actions, for your decisions, but my grace says that I'm not going to do what I know I can, but I have every right to do as a father. I'm giving you an opportunity for a do-over." As a kid, I didn't see God as a loving, nurturing father. As a kid, I saw Him as this big monster in the sky waiting to pounce on me whenever I did something wrong. But it wasn't until I became an adult, like I said, that I began to see and experience and feel Him as a loving father. There are so many believers who have this mindset or this picture of God as someone who's ready to destroy you. So you have to put on a certain face, you have to speak a certain way, you have to project a certain image in order to get His attention. Listen, that is performance based. That is performance based relationship, and God is not dealing performance based. He wants your heart. He's always after your heart. He's always in a position to give us grace. As a father, I want my children to understand the importance of boundaries, of standards, and the culture that we're creating in our house. But I don't want them to be scared of me. I don't want them to walk around the house on eggshells. I want them to know that even when you do mess up, you can still come to me and we can work it out. New mercies, new grace. Every day we get new mercies, we get new grace. So the do-over that we're asking for when we mess up, when we miss the mark, when we make unwise decisions, the do-over that we're asking for is not because you've lost your position in Him. It's not because you've lost your position with the Father. It's simply a posture adjustment. Woo, that's some good eating right there. The do-over that you're asking for is not because you've fell from a certain position. You are always in right standing with the Father. So it's not a position thing that you've lost. What it is, though, is simply a posture adjustment. When I played basketball, there are certain positions, there are certain postures I had that allowed me to get in a position to score. And if I wasn't in a certain posture, then I would miss an opportunity to get it right. Right? And so the same thing happens, and I hope I explained that clearly. The same thing happens with our relationship with the Father. When we're out of position, the do-over is, God, I need to get back in position. I need to get back into alignment. Because I know that when I'm in alignment, I can see the court different. When I'm in alignment, I can represent you at my highest self. When I'm in alignment, I can receive your best for me. When I'm in alignment, I can walk in my purpose with confidence. When I'm in alignment, I can operate in my calling with authority. When I'm in alignment, I represent you at my highest. It's when I'm not in alignment that I began to shrink back. Listen, Genesis 1:27 confirms that we are made in His image. Romans 15:7 certifies that we are accepted. Colossians 2:9-10 corroborates your completeness in Him. 1 Corinthians 6:17 connects you to the Father's heart. Ephesians 2:10, it calls you into your specific work that was ordained from the beginning of time. Your do-over is not from a lesser position. Your do-over is not because you fell from grace. Your do-over is, God, I want to get back in your grace. I want to get back in the posture to be able to receive your grace fully. Our identity in Christ gives us the access to be able to do that, to be able to say that, to be able to put ourselves in position to receive that. The posture of your heart, listen to this, the posture of your heart dictates the effectiveness of your do-over. That's some good eating right there. You better write that down. The posture of your heart dictates the effectiveness of your do-over. His love is boundless. His grace is ever expanding. And that's why it feels new every day. Not because he's running out, but because it's ever expanding. We can't even get his grace at one time in one day. That's why it feels new every day. Remember that you are in a posture, that you are in a position as his child, and you cannot fall from that position because he loves you. There's nothing you can do to make him love you more or love you any less. You are his child. He's calling you home. He's giving you an opportunity for a do-over. Remember that what you want to become depends on your willingness to become it. Have a great day.